Free fall. Try this. Take a small stone. Hold it in your hand. Which forces are acting on the stone? Now, release the stone. What do you observe? What are the forces acting on the stone after you release it? Answer. A. The forces are acting on that small stone are the force exerted by the person holding it, the force exerted by the air, and the Earth's gravitational force. B. After releasing the stone, it falls on the ground. C. The forces acting on the stone after releasing it are the force exerted by air and the Earth's gravitational force. We know that the force of gravity due to the Earth acts on each and every object. When we were holding the stone in our hand, the stone was experiencing this force, but it was balanced by a force that we were applying on it in the opposite direction. As a result, the stone remained at rest. Once we release the stone from our hands, the only force that acts on it is the gravitational force of the Earth, and the stone falls down under its influence. Whenever an object moves under the influence of the force of gravity alone, it is said to be falling freely. Thus, the released stone is in a free fall. In free fall, the initial velocity of the object is zero and goes on increasing due to the acceleration due to gravity of the Earth. During free fall, the frictional force due to air opposes the motion of the object, and a buoyant force also acts on the object. Thus, true free fall is possible only in vacuum. For a freely falling object, the velocity on reaching the Earth and the time taken for it can be calculated by using Newton's equations of motion. For free fall, the initial velocity u is equal to 0 and the acceleration a is equal to g. Thus, we can write the equations as v is equal to gt, s is equal to 1 upon 2 gt square, v square is equal to 2gs. For calculating the motion of an object thrown upwards, acceleration is negative, that is, in a direction opposite to the velocity, and is taken to be minus g. The magnitude of g is the same, but the velocity of the object decreases because of this negative acceleration. The moon and the artificial satellites are moving only under the influence of the gravitational field of the Earth. Thus, they are in free fall. Do you know? The value of g is the same for all objects at a given place on the Earth. Thus, any two objects, irrespective of their masses or any other properties, when dropped from the same height and falling freely, will reach the Earth at the same time. Galileo is said to have performed an experiment around 1590 in the Italian city of Pisa. He dropped two spheres of different masses from the Leaning Tower of Pisa to demonstrate that both spheres reached the ground at the same time. When we drop a feather and a heavy stone at the same time from a height, they do not reach the Earth at the same time. The feather experiences a buoyant force and a frictional force due to air and therefore floats and reaches the ground slowly, later than the heavy stone. The buoyant and the frictional forces on the stone are much less than the weight of the stone and does not affect the speed of the stone much. Recently, scientists performed this experiment in vacuum and showed that the feather and stone indeed reach the Earth at the same time. Solved examples. Example 1. An iron ball of mass 3 kg is released from a height of 125 meters and falls freely to the ground. Assuming that the value of g is 10 meters per second square, calculate time taken by the ball to reach the ground, velocity of the ball on reaching the ground, the height of the ball at half the time it takes to reach the ground. Given m is equal to 3 kg. Distance travelled by the ball s is equal to 125 meters. Initial velocity of the ball is equal to u is equal to 0 and acceleration a is equal to g is equal to 10 meters per second square. Newton's second equation of motion gives s is equal to ut plus 1 upon 2 at square. Therefore, 125 is equal to 0t plus 1 upon 2 into 10 into t square is equal to 5t square. T square is equal to 125 upon 5 is equal to 25. T is equal to 5 seconds. The ball takes 5 seconds to reach the ground. According to Newton's first equation of motion, final velocity is equal to v is equal to u plus at is equal to 0 plus 10 into 5 is equal to 50 meters per second. The velocity of the ball on reaching the ground is 50 meters per second. Half time is equal to t is equal to 5 upon 2 is equal to 2.5 seconds. Ball's height at this time is equal to s. According to Newton's second equation, s is equal to ut plus 1 upon 2 at square. S is equal to 0 plus 1 upon 2 10 into 2.5 square is equal to 31.25 meters. Thus, the height of the ball at half time is equal to 125 minus 31.25 is equal to 93.75 meters. Example 2. A tennis ball is thrown up and reaches a height of 4.05 meters before coming down. What was its initial velocity? How much total time will it take to come down? Assume g is equal to 10 meter per second square. Given. For the upward motion of the ball, the final velocity of the ball is equal to v is equal to 0. Distance travelled by the ball is equal to 4.05 meters. Acceleration a is equal to minus g is equal to minus 10 meters per second square. Using Newton's third equation of motion, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. 0 is equal to u square plus 2 minus 10 into 4.05. Therefore, u square is equal to 81. U is equal to 9 meter per second. The initial velocity of the ball is 9 meter per second. Now, let us consider the downward motion of the ball. Suppose the ball takes t seconds to come down. Now, the initial velocity of the ball is 0. U is equal to 0. Distance travelled by the ball on reaching the ground is equal to 4.05 meters. As the velocity and acceleration are in the same direction, a is equal to g is equal to 10 meters per second. According to Newton's second equation of motion, s is equal to ut plus 1 upon 2 at square. 4.05 is equal to 0 plus 1 upon 2 10t square. T square is equal to 4.05 divided by 5 is equal to 0.81. T is equal to 0.9 seconds. The ball will take 0.9 seconds to reach the ground. It will take the same time to go up. Thus, the total time taken is equal to 2 into 0.9 is equal to 1.8 seconds. Use your brain power. According to Newton's law of gravitation, Earth's gravitational force is higher on an object of larger mass. Why doesn't that object fall down with higher velocity as compared to an object with lower mass? Answer. According to Newton's law of gravitation, the Earth's gravitational force is higher on an object of larger mass. But that object doesn't fall down with higher velocity as compared to an object with lower mass because F is equal to ma and F is equal to gmm upon r square. Therefore, acceleration A is equal to gm upon r square. This is independent of the mass m of the object. Hence, an object of larger mass and an object of lower mass fall down with the same velocity. Gravitational potential energy. We have studied potential energy in last standard. The energy stored in an object because of its position or state is called potential energy. This energy is relative and increases as we go to greater heights from the surface of the Earth. We had assumed that the potential energy of an object of mass m at a height h from the ground is mgh and on the ground it is 0. When h is small compared to the radius r of the Earth, we can assume g to be constant and can use the above formula mgh. But for large values of h, the value of g decreases with increase in h. For an object at infinite distance from the Earth, the value of g is 0 and Earth's gravitational force does not act on the object. So it is more appropriate to assume the value of potential energy to be 0 there. Thus, for smaller distances, that is heights, the potential energy is less than 0. That is, it is negative. When an object is at a height h from the surface of the Earth, its potential energy is minus gmm upon r plus h here. M and r are Earth's mass and radius respectively. Escape velocity. We have seen that when a ball is thrown upwards, its velocity decreases because of the gravitation of the Earth. The velocity becomes 0 after reaching a certain height and after that ball starts falling down. Its maximum height depends on its initial velocity. According to Newton's third equation of motion is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. V is equal to the final velocity of the ball is equal to 0 and a is equal to minus g. Therefore, 0 is equal to u square plus 2 minus gs and maximum height of the ball is equal to s is equal to minus u square upon 2g. Thus, higher the initial velocity u, the larger is the height reached by the ball. The reason for this is that the higher the initial velocity, the ball will oppose the gravity of the Earth more and larger will be the height to which it can reach. We have seen above that the value of g keeps decreasing as we go higher above the surface of the Earth. Thus, the force pulling the ball downward decreases as the ball goes up. If we keep increasing the initial velocity of the ball, it will reach larger and larger heights, and above a particular value of initial velocity of the ball is able to overcome the downward pull by the Earth and can escape the Earth forever and will not fall back on the Earth. This velocity is called escape velocity. We can determine its value by using the law of conservation of energy as follows. An object going vertically upwards from the surface of the earth, having an initial velocity equal to the escape velocity, escapes the gravitational force of the earth. The force of gravity, being inversely proportional to the square of the distance, becomes zero only at infinite distance from the earth. This means that for the object to be free from the gravity of the earth, it has to reach infinite distance from the earth. That is, the object will come to rest at infinite distance and will stay there. For an object of mass m on the surface of the earth, A. Kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 mv escape square. B. Potential energy is equal to minus gmm upon r. C. Total energy is equal to E1 is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy is equal to 1/2 mv escape square minus gmm upon r. At infinite distance from the earth, A. Kinetic energy is equal to 0. B. Potential energy is equal to minus gmm upon infinity is equal to 0. C. Total energy is equal to E2 is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy is equal to 0. From the principle of conservation of energy, E1 is equal to E2. 1/2 mv escape square minus gmm upon r is equal to 0. V escape square is equal to 2 gm upon r. V escape is equal to square root 2 gm upon r is equal to square root 2 gr is equal to square root 2 into 9.8 into 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 is equal to 11.2 kilometers per second. The spacecrafts which are sent to the moon or other planets have to have their initial velocity larger than the escape velocity so that they can overcome Earth's gravitational attraction and can travel to these objects. Solved examples. Example 1. Calculate the escape velocity on the surface of the moon given the mass and radius of the moon to be 7.34 into 10 raised to 22 kg and 1.74 into 10 raised to 6 meters respectively. Given g is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 n m square per kg square. Mass of the moon is equal to m is equal to 7.34 into 10 raised to 22 kg and radius of the moon is equal to r is equal to 1.74 into 10 raised to 6 meters. Escape velocity is equal to V escape is equal to square root 2 gm upon r, square root 2 into 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 into 7.34 into 10 raised to 22 upon 1.74 into 10 raised to 6 is equal to 2.37 kilometers per second. Escape velocity on the moon 2.37 kilometers per second. Weightlessness in space. Do you know? Space travelers as well as objects in the spacecraft appear to be floating. Why does this happen? Though the spacecraft is at a height from the surface of the Earth, the value of g there is not 0. In the space station, the value of g is only 11% less than its value on the surface of the Earth. Thus, the height of the spacecraft is not the reason for their weightlessness. Their weightlessness is caused by their being in the state of free fall. Though the spacecraft is not falling on the Earth, because of its velocity along the orbit, the only force acting on it is the gravitational force of the earth, and therefore it is in a free fall. As the velocity of free fall does not depend on the properties of an object, the velocity of free fall is the same for the spacecraft, the travelers, and the objects in the craft. Thus, if a traveler releases an object from her hand, it will remain stationary with respect to her and will appear to be weightless.